How's it going? Welcome back. It's Jonathan. All right. So, was the 2024 Bitcoin forecast one of the worst forecasts I've ever did? Now, if you remember any of the videos that I published at the beginning of 2024, I said that the game has changed. I'm not too bullish on Bitcoin in 2024. And I think that there is a very high possibility that Bitcoin could probably end around where it started. And at the time, Bitcoin was trading around 40,000, 40 to 45,000, again, this range here. Bitcoin today is more than double that, okay? So was my forecast for 2025 wrong? Yes, okay. Yes, it's wrong. It didn't actually end around the area that it began. However, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to possibly teach you about cycles and inversions. And I'm going to go over my preferred 2024 forecast, which was the market sort of doing nothing and then falling lower into the end of the year instead of rising into the end of the year. But we all know now, it's no secret that post-election period, the market rose higher. And I believe that this was basically an inversion on price falling. I don't know if my pen's still active. If price, instead of price falling back down to where it began, price instead inverted higher to where it is today. And that is what I try to teach you, is that it's not that you're wrong in your analysis when it comes to building W.D. Gann's mass pressure charts, or I just use that as a phrase to simplify it for people, but mass pressure charts or forecasts for the year ahead. If you've got a forecast or if you've got a market curve that is playing out, there is a chance that it's going to be accurate, but you have to deal with inversions. Now, an inversion just means that if the market is forecasted to move higher, it can instead move lower to the same degree. And at that point in time where the forecast was moving higher into a top, so if I just write top, no, I can't write like that, it instead, I'll just leave a B, it instead makes a bottom basically around the same time period or thereabouts. So let's go ahead and take a look at my 2020 forecast that, yes, I got wrong. For those who don't understand forecasting or inversions in markets, and we'll just explain where it went wrong and why. So you may have seen this in an older video. I said that this was my preferred forecast for the year. Now, yes, markets didn't, so that we always work from left to right, okay? So we say, okay, so the market is likely to begin low and end higher than where it began. But I was looking for the fact that we had the market having a low here, having basically a major peak in the first quarter, trading sideways, only breaking that peak by a little bit towards possibly October, November period, and then falling from that period onward. And that meant that price was going to be contained within where it began and the high. So, okay, so the price was going to be contained within the low and the high and sort of ending where it began, not doing much for the year. So let's go ahead and analyze this. I'm actually going to try something if I can do one screen on top and one screen on bottom. Let's see if I can make that happen. No, but we will make it happen. Don't worry, we'll make it happen. I'm going to now try and squeeze these over. Voila, perfect. All right. Oh, golly gosh, now it's like really ugly. Anyway, bear with me. So we were looking for markets to have a base in the first month or so, and then rally. So if we divide this into 12 months, have a rally into possibly February to March period. So 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months is like the halfway point, sort of see how we visualize that. So into around the February, March, and then decline into April, rally into around June, decline into possibly August. So June, July, August period, rally from a low around August, September, into around a high in late October, November, and then from November to December to the end of the year, sort of fall, okay? So let's go ahead and squeeze this down now. I'll see if I can get the framework. Anyway, so having a base here, I'm going to draw it out now. we sort of rallied into that March period, and then we were looking to be falling into around April, and then we were looking to be rallying higher into around June period, and then falling into possibly that August, September period. We've got a double bottom here in September, and then rallying higher and breaking the top. If I just bring this one up now, it's probably not the best way of doing this, but I'm much of a guy who does this crazy stuff on charts. Rallying into a high that breaks all the old highs into around November, and then after that, prices were likely to decline. So as you can see, we got the same framework. Okay, the framework worked for the majority of the year until that Trump election, and instead of prices falling lower into around the period where it's contained, prices instead inverted higher into this period. And if I go ahead and just open this one again, we can see that prices scoot lower in value. And if we flip that, if we invert it and we just say prices rise higher, in this last period here, prices actually advance. So whether this last period is also inverting and now we're getting a decline just right out into the end of 31st of December or not, is where this high doesn't get broken for the rest of the year and price is now possibly contained within this period, or price falls, that's yet to be seen. But it is my opinion right now that the forecast that I had for 2024 was spot on. Okay, however, the last bit of the forecast just inverted, and that's when you got to realize, because a lot of people ask me, oh, your strategy, your forecasting strategy doesn't tell me when to buy and sell. Well, actually, that might be because you don't understand how to use the forecast. I'm not attacking anyone here, but they say your strategy doesn't tell me when to buy and sell. Actually, the forecast will give you guides on when to buy and sell, but you got to know that when the market's pushing higher and you're getting these crazy bullish candles like this one, like these ones right here, that we have to deal with inversions, and we just basically flip that period in time where we were looking for a possible low to occur into a possible high period, and that's how we flip it. So and then you have that basically, if you're trading like a breakout, you have that breakout period with that potential top. Again, you trade into the zone. Obviously, I'm doing this after the fact, not before the fact, because I've been just focusing on other topics at the moment. But I was just thinking, because someone recently raised the topic that my 2024 forecast for Bitcoin was wrong because of around 40,000 and around back in January, February. I was saying, look, it's probably not going to do much this year, travel sideways, basically end where it's going to go. 2025 is the year that I'm bullish. It ended, like I've told you many times, I'm not so bullish on 2024, but 2025 I am. The cycle inverted. That's exactly the framework or the opinion that I'm going to hold, because if we look at the cycle that I gave you and we look at the exact inversion point, we can see that inversion point. Okay, this chart's really messy. So once you know how to build the cycles, you only need to deal with the inversion. Okay, I wonder if there's like a mass delete on this or something or not. Can I mass delete everything? Anyway, don't use TradingView. I'm going to leave this on here. That's what I want you to take away from this video. Okay, the cycle. If you've got the correct cycle and that correct cycle is playing out, you only need to deal with inversions. Okay, the cycle will play out on point and roughly on time, and only dealing with inversions is just going to make your life much easier. Okay, so if you were looking for a potential low around this period, you'd be looking for reversal signals. So as the market's come down and reversing, you'd be looking to take those reversals. If the market's coming up and you're expecting a top in the cycle, you're not going to be buying that. Okay, you're going to be looking for sells or profit taking. You're going to be looking for buying, and around here you would have been looking for take profit, because you would have bought around here. You would have been looking for take profits around October to November time period, and then it doesn't fall, instead it scoots higher. Well, that would just generally mean that you'd be buying the breakout and riding it higher. That depends on your strategy though. Okay, that's the sort of theory. Once you've learnt to master Gann, you've learnt to master the art of building a forecast, which I teach. I teach you guys in the yearly forecasting building service how to actually do that, and in the upcoming Gann max pressure chart. Once you build it and you've got the framework in front of you, it's going to help you understand the actual market direction. So I do think that my forecast was correct. We are only dealing with inversions in this point in time, and I would be more than comfortable. I've given you this full report, by the way. I've shown you how I built it. so you can go ahead and build out into the future yourself. Check a last video that I did on a few videos back on the 2024 forecast for Bitcoin, and build those cycles out into the future, okay? And just continue to repeat it. Go ahead and backtest it, because I found that this cycle, when I backtested it, was very, very accurate, okay? Yes, we deal with inversions, but I think it's very accurate and we can apply it into the future. So don't take things to heart, okay? The cycle's not always going to be 100% accurate, and we do have to deal with anomalies such as orb periods, which means that we're expecting a top in February, but it comes in late January or early March. We've got to deal with those minor orb periods where anomalies happen, and then we also have to deal with the actual inversion of the cycle. Okay, so those are the two topics we've got to deal with. Once you've got the cycle, you should be good to go. Okay. Anyway, I'll cut this off. Just wanted to give you some wisdom, and if that's of value to you, and yeah, talk to you soon.